Welcome from sunny Copenhagen to the Fashion Zero Agenda event on policy gaps and opportunities. My name is Morten Lehmann and I'm the Chief Sustainability Officer of Global Fashion Agenda. So last week we launched the Fashion Zero Agenda, which provides not only an industry-aligned and consolidated framework on guiding industry leaders and policymakers on where to prioritize actions and allocate resources for the biggest impact. The Fashion Zero Agenda also provides a vision, a positive vision for the future, that we can have a thriving industry that creates prosperity for people and communities, protects biodiversity, reverses climate change, and works within planetary boundaries. This is possible if we act now and if we do the right things. The Fashion Zero Agenda provides equal weight to social and environmental challenges with two priorities for each of these, while also recognizing that closing the loop on fashion provides some of the key solutions to the challenges of our industry. Besides the vision and the 5 priorities, the Fashion Zero Agenda, as something new this year, also provides 2 sets of enablers. One set of internal enablers that was very much discussed by industry leaders at our launch event last week, that's focusing on the role of leadership, allocating resources and the right governance to really accelerate sustainability. But it also has a second set of enablers that is, for one, focusing on finance, and importantly, for this session today, the role of policymakers and policy. So I'm very excited to be here today and see how the role and how fashion and sustainability has really risen on the agenda of policymakers. Policymakers come pretty late to the game, and there are very high expectations. But we don't expect that any of the stakeholder groups involved in our industry and in sustainability can solve this issue alone. But we do expect that policymakers step up their game and play a key role in creating a level playing field and providing the right incentives to accelerate the pace of sustainability in our industry. Before I hand over the word to my colleague Jonas, let's play a small video on the Fashion Zero Agenda.
This is an image of 3 garment workers, but it is also an image of one of the biggest success stories in the fashion industry, and an image of one of its biggest challenges. These 3 garment workers are representative of the more than 60 million people working in the fashion industry globally. On the positive side, the garment sector has brought economic development and employment opportunities to people around the world. However, the industry still faces significant challenges. Many workers still earn less wages than their cost of living, work in unsafe environments, and are exposed to hazardous conditions. Roughly 80% of garment workers globally are women, and many encounter gender bias and discrimination. Bettering the conditions for garment workers is one of 5 areas fashion leaders must focus on right now. Global Fashion Agenda presents 5 priorities for a prosperous industry. Our vision is that of a thriving fashion industry that creates prosperity for people and planet. Let's return to our image of the 3 garment workers. Today, the competitive nature of the industry and the lack of access to education and challenges to organize in workers' unions prevent garment workers from being able to secure a proper wage, better working conditions, and brighter future prospects. Prosperity for fashion workers starts with safeguarding human rights and social justice by prioritizing respectful and secure work environments, better wage systems. But what about prosperity for the planet? An important topic for fashion leaders in relation to environmental impact is rethinking their material choices. A feasible alternative could be something as sci-fi sounding as lab-grown or fungi-based leather. Instead of taking a cow's skin, we can now grow and biofabricate leather without the cow. These alternative approaches to leather can decouple leather production from traditional agriculture and have a drastically lower impact on the environment and on cows. But innovative and eco-friendly materials like this can only be a success if they become commercially viable and scalable, which requires investments from the industry. When it comes to the planet, fashion leaders should prioritize efficient use of resources, smart material choices, Finally, the priority that encompasses both people and planet has to do with the fashion value cycle. The current system uses a take, make, waste formula where resources are extracted, products are manufactured and used, and then discarded as waste. This system needs to become more circular. Let's take a look at how to make a pair of circular jeans. Make timeless designs. Use recycled and durable materials. Use technology to track the history of the jeans and how to recycle them. We need to find new business models that are not only dependent on growth. Why not take back and sell clothes multiple times, or offer customers to lease clothes like you would with a car, or repair and recycle clothes in your store? Circular systems must prioritize social value and be co-created with all actors. This means engaging with often informal waste handlers, upskilling the industry's workforce, safeguarding value in countries dependent on fashion production. So the last priority for fashion leaders should be circular systems. And now that we have gone full circle, we can present the strategic framework of 5 priorities for fashion leaders. Allocating resources to these priorities will pave the way to a prosperous industry. Visit globalfashionagenda.com to find the Fashion CEO Agenda Framework, innovative solution providers, and guidance on how to implement these priorities in your business.
Thank you so much, Morten, for kicking us off with today's event. And so great to see so many people actually participating. I think we have an amazing opportunity right now to engage in dialogue between policymakers, the fashion and textile industry, and the wider system. I'm really excited about being able to welcome so many people to introduce you to working with the 5 priorities within the Fashion CEO agenda from a policy perspective, looking at the policy gaps and opportunities that we are witnessing within each of the 5 priorities. And also a big welcome from our co-organizers, Circularity for the apparel and footwear industry, including Sustainable Apparel Coalition, FACI, Federation of European Sporting Goods Industries, Textile Exchange, ZDHC, Zero Discharge of Hazardous Chemicals, who you'll all be hearing from during the sessions later today. You also hear from Policy Hub Chair, Baptiste Carrière-Pradal, during one of the sessions as well. And you've just heard from my colleague, Morten, our Chief Sustainability Officer here at Global Fashion Agenda. My name is Jonas. I am the Public Affairs Director, and you'll hear from more of our colleagues throughout the day. So this event today is truly necessary and timeless and timely. We believe that this is an amazing opportunity, like I said, to engage in further dialogue, because the attention right now is here from policymakers on our industry, but mostly within the EU, because there are so many legislative proposals coming on the table within the EU as we witness right now, but also outside the EU. I mean, I think this is a global tendency that we truly welcome for policymakers to zoom in specifically on our industry, engaging in dialogue with our industry and the stakeholders surrounding it. So it's amazing to see that we also have a lot of non-EU voices with us here today during the event, both from manufacturers, but also from brands and retailers outside of the EU, to give a flavor of what's actually going on in terms of policy gaps and opportunities within their national environments, political environments, but also from their perspective in a global environment, looking at what can be done, what needs to be done, and how to partner between industry and policymakers. And I guess you have almost been hiding if you haven't seen or heard about the many legislative proposals that are currently on the table, especially in the EU, as mentioned, right now. And I mean, it's also, if you haven't heard a policymaker saying something around textile is the new plastics within the last year or so, both from commissioners down to policy officers, and also look at the number of events that we're currently witnessing taking place, either organized by members of the European Parliament. For example, we have today a few of them with us, and Alice Kuhnke and colleagues in the Envy committee within the European Parliament. These types of events have really increased, and putting a specific focus on our industry and how to speed up the pace and increase the sustainability performance of our industry. But also within national parliaments, also again within Europe, we see an increasing amount of events and discussions going on. And so, I mean, just to name a few, France, Germany, Spain, Sweden, Denmark, Netherlands, outside the EU, the UK. Absolutely a lot of inquiries have been made following the environmental audit committee's focus on fixing fashion. But even also outside, you would say, the industry, organized by organizations that are part of the system as such, but not really the industry alone. So really you see recyclers, normally focused on recycling of mobile phones or paper, now are zooming in also on our industry, together with municipalities handling waste from the industry, chemical suppliers, and the list is long in terms of the necessary stakeholders who all make up the system that we need to change together. So that's amazing to see this attention, not only from policymakers, but also from the system at large, zooming in on the fashion and textile industry. Most events right now, most of the focus, of course, is on circularity. Naturally, with the last year's launch of the Circular Economy Action Plan, that I'm sure we'll hear much more about during the following sessions. But overall, we really experience an amazing interest in learning and collaborating from industry, policymakers, and the rest of the system. And we are here within Global Fashion Agenda, together with our partners, to help convene and address these gaps and opportunities that we see in order to further activate the 5 priorities within the Fashion CEO agenda. So we've created this event exactly to zooming in, to narrowing down on those gaps and opportunities. So enough from me. Let's dive into it. Let's get started. We have 5 sessions focused on each of the Fashion CEO agenda, diving into the gaps and opportunities. We'll hear from more than 30 speakers. And it is just amazing to be able to say, let's get started. Remember to navigate within the system. We are on a specific platform where you basically need to join the next session that will be focusing on respectful and secure work environments. Remember to engage in the chat with comments along the way, but also to use the Q&A function to ask particular questions directed at the panelists. So thank you for that, and on with the show. Enjoy.